Hey everybody, Poppin here with the third draft review in what feels like a very short time frame. This is the third league. I'm tapping out. No more leagues. I can't do more than 3. I can barely do 2. So we'll see how this one goes. But this is season 5 of the VBL, the league where it all started for I know a lot of us and myself. And this time we are doing a BDSP draft, as you can see right there in the little format tab. I don't remember what the budget was, but yeah, so this is a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl draft. This probably is going to be the only one we do. So, yeah, this is a totally new format for me. I don't play very much VGC, and I've played even less of this format, so I definitely don't know what I'm doing. I think it shows in this draft. But I saw this as an opportunity to use a lot of mons that wouldn't typically get picked because the power level is significantly lower in a game without Gens 5+. Going through this, I realized a lot of the actually good mons are all from like Gen 5 and beyond. Good old power creep, but there's definitely a lot of solid stars here and a little, unpolished gems, I think, in the pool we have here. So I'm excited for this format. I can't wait to see how it goes. I did end up liking my team that I drafted, and I am excited to see how it turns out. So we'll get started off with my first pick here, which I came into this. I had a strategy coming into this, but I ended up just bailing on it right off the bat. I wanted to do Blastoise, Parasect, and Rotom Toaster because I thought that was a really good Firewater Grass core, and Blastoise is a good threat, fake out stuff, Shell Smash, fun, Parasect is an annoying redirector, but I decided not to do that because I just got Mega Blastoise in the Almost Any Ability League, and I don't want to have 3 leagues with the Blastoise family at the same time. Although maybe I could have had War Turtle, regular Blastoise, and Mega. But anyways, I decided not to go that route, and I decided to just pick mons that I think are good, and that I haven't really had much of a chance to use before. I don't think I redrafted anything in this league. So when I started off, I knew I wanted to get something that was strong off the bat, something that was kind of tough to deal with and switch in on. And looking around, when it came to me, all the fire types started going. It was Arcanine, then Heatran, and the big meme about Diamond and Pearl is that there are no fire types, which is actually less of a meme than you would think because there's really not that many good fire types in the format. It's really Infernape, Arcanine, Heatran, Rotom Toaster, and maybe Moltres, and then the one I picked, who was Entei. Oops, not W. I need to get my setup fixed where I can actually use my keyboard, not the laptop keys. But Entei, why is Entei good? One sec. I have the day off. I don't want to hear my work phone. Why is Entei good? He's a physical attacker that's immune to Intimidate and immune to burns. Decently fast at 100 speed. Pure fire type's pretty nice, only 3 weaknesses, decent amount of resistances, and the best part about Entei is that nasty Sacred Fire. Will-O-Wisp is down here, but who needs to run a Will-O-Wisp when you can just burn them 50% of the time and deal a 100 base power move on top of that? I really like Entei. I've never used it before. It's always been my least favorite of the legendary beasts, but I think this is Entei's time to shine. There's not too many other bulky. Well, there's a good bit of bulky waters, but as you see from the rest of my team, I believe I have ways around them. But I guess we'll end up seeing that if that's the case. But Entei, it may be a one-trick pony. Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, Stone Edge +1 most weeks. It can run a more special set with 90 special attack is really not that bad, especially not in this limited dex. And base 90 Eruption is pretty good. Not a Heatran Eruption, but it's still... Oh, I don't even know if Heatran gets Eruption in this. It might not. So this might be one of the strongest Eruptions around. Active Typhlosion and Camera Special Attack might be higher. But still, I think Entei is versatile. It has the tools to do what it needs to do. And it is the best physical fire type, I believe. And I think that's a pretty hard thing to come by. And not too many good ways of dealing with it in the format. Next pick, I wanted something that synergized really well with Entei, and I'm actually surprised at how well these actually synergize together. Entei, what's it weak to? Water, ground, and rock. What deals with that? Oh, none other than your boy Gastrodon, who is immune to water, can hit rocks or grounds and rocks super effectively, and resist rock. Only price to pay for that is the 4x grass weakness, which Entei more than covers. Obviously, grass coverage could be an option, but Gastrodon's typically bulky enough with a Rindo Berry where it can tank pretty much any non-stab grass move that's unboosted. So Gastrodon, I don't know why it's not showing ground type there. Gastrodon is a really good pick. I think he's the only mon on my team that's actually like used on the ladder typically. But again, very bulky mon, very slow, so I go from 100 all the way down to 39 right off the bat. Doesn't have very many options that fill out these little slots here, but Yawn is great, obviously. It's really bulky. Having one weakness is so nice, as we've seen from Jordan's draft review and Jordan's season last season. Having good typings is incredibly important, and Water Ground is one of the best ones. So I think Gastrodon's going to go a long way. Great synergy with Entei. The two of them are a good core, and they don't really leave much to be desired, other than, I guess, a net ground weakness, but Gastrodon does have the tools to cover that, and there is this big speed gap between them and not very many supportive options between the two, so that's why I went with my next pick, Rhodomo. I always think I was Rotom Cut. So Rhodomo. This has always been my favorite Rotom. I know it's not the best one. Wash and Heat are typically better, but I think Rhodomo is actually pretty good. Actually, I think it's very good. And it's also, for the price it was significantly cheaper than the other two Rotoms, but it's not significantly worse than them, so I think it was a good value pick. Rhodomo has the good Rotom defensive stats, good special attack, decent speed, low HP, but that's not too bad when you only have a couple weaknesses that are covered by my other mons so far. Just from these three, they all cover each other's weaknesses decently well. And Rotom does offer more supportive options. This can viably use Will-O-Wisp, unlike Entei, where you'd rather use Sacred Fire. I do get the Volt Switch for pivoting, which is pretty tough to come by in this format, actually. Not as many things learn U-turn. Volt Switch is relatively rare. But I also do get a good dual screen setter, which is, again, kind of more rare than you'd think it is. If you've played like VBL-N, where it's Nat Dex, a lot of things get both screens at once, but a lot of the times in this game it's one or the other, right? You don't typically see Reflect and Light Screen on the same mon. But Rotom is one of the few that actually does get both. It does get Thunder Wave, it does get Trick, so it's a great Scarf user. Scarf Thunder Wave, switch out, then come back in, Scarf Trick onto something that really would hate to have a Scarf on it. And it's really just decently powerful. I mean, 105 special attack is great in this format, and a Leaf Storm is, I believe, the strongest grass move in the format. So get in there again. Another good reason to run a Scarf. Get in, blast them, switch out, and then come back in and do something else annoying with your Scarf. I really like Rotomo. It's always my favorite. I mean, look at that smile. He's got the best attitude you could possibly have, and I fully support that. If I do make any team moves, Rotomo is not going anywhere. He is absolutely a favorite of mine, and he's sticking around. But on to the next one. Despite as much as I liked Rhodomo, it wasn't super easy for me to decide. There were two mons that I really wanted. I really wanted a grass type next, and there were two that I had in mind. Both of which I consider pretty good in the format. I would say probably Tangrowth is the best, but Sam round wanted him. So my choice for round 3 was going to be either Rhodomo or Jumpluff. Jumpluff, they both do very different things. Rhodomo has the offense and supportive options, is bulky. Jumpluff is super support mon, but it doesn't really have the offense to back it up. And when it came back to me, I realized, I could afford to have just a pretty pure support mon. So I ended up going and picking both of them. So 2 grass types off the bat. Typically not what you want to do. Grass type has a lot of weaknesses, and I do stack some weaknesses right here. I do get the poison weakness, the ice, and the fire. But I think Jumpluff has enough tools that can make up for that. Jumpluff is super duper fast, the fastest mon I end up drafting. It does get Cotton Spore, I think. And that's the one that lowers, it's essentially a Tailwind without being Tailwind. Lowers both opponents' mon speed by 2 stages, and it does get blocked by grass types, but I definitely have other ways of dealing with grass types. And hey, Jumpluff can deal with grass types too. Just hit him with a Acrobatics after your Sash breaks. And Jumpluff is also great. It gets Aromatherapy, which is not too much of an issue for my team, given that I have Entei for physical attacks. But if things start falling asleep, Jumpluff can come in, is immune to Sleep Powder, Spore, and just can wipe it all away. I've definitely seen Aromatherapy come into use before. I think in VBL-N against Casey, I won the match just because of my Illumise was able to get off a Aromatherapy and wake the rest of my team up. It does get Encore, which is super nice. It's a decently rare move. It can lock people into annoying moves they don't want to be locked into, which is super helpful given that Jumpluff is super duper fast. And if I want to, I can do Infiltrator, so I can lock you into Substitute, which is just probably one of the worst moves to possibly be locked into. And on top of all that, I didn't even mention it has Rage Powder, which is as good as nearly as good as Follow Me in this game. Obviously, there's the Grass type immunity, but like I said before, I have plenty of ways of dealing with Grass types on my team. And I don't know. I really like Jump Bluff. It's super good. I think it has a ton of support stuff, and there's a lot of options that aren't even listed on here. Like get Strength Sap to lower your attack and heal itself at the same time. Strength Sap is a super rare move in this game. I don't even know who else gets it, but Jump Bluff is probably the fastest user of it. So I really like Jump Bluff. Its Rage Powder is amazing, so much better than it is in a game with safety goggles, so I might as well use it while I can. So my next pick, who was my next pick? I think my next pick came around, and I wanted something to synergize really well with Jump Bluff, and to take more advantage of its redirection abilities, because Entei is obviously great with Jump Bluff. You can do a Calm Mind kind of thing, but they do share the Rock weakness, so I wanted something else that works with Jump Bluff in a way where anything Jump Bluff wants to redirect will be a benefit for its partner, and there's no move that can hit both of them super effectively. And I also realized I was lacking a Steel type, and they were going fast. There's only a couple of good Steel types. I mean, it's really like Heatran, Metagross, which I don't even think ended up getting drafted. Heatran, Metagross, and I really don't even know what other good Steel types there are. Besides this one, we've got your boy Empoleon, who is also best Gen 4 starter. Don't at me on that one. Empoleon only weak to Electric, Fighting, and Ground. Great types to be weak to if you got your boy Jump Bluff supporting you. Obviously, Jump Bluff doesn't resist Electric, but it's especially bulky enough to effectively resist it. Empoleon. It also is another deterrent of Intimidate, which paired with Entei, pretty safely to assume that people are not going to be bringing Intimidate against me, which frees me up to pick better physical attacker mons later on down the draft. But also just look at this. Look at all this green here. That is amazing. Water Steel is one of the best possible typings, and even all this time after Gen 4, Empoleon's still the only one that's got it. And no one really does like Empoleon. He is an absolute special tank, and decently physically bulky too as well. Didn't even really notice that. He doesn't have too many support moves, but Icy Wind and Yawn are enough to cause issues with on really any team. A base 60 Icy Wind isn't going to do too much for you, but it's kind of like how Icy Wind used to work, where it applies the next turn. So if he gets the Icy Wind off, it greatly positions me for the next turn, which, given this thing is 111 special attack, is pretty nice. So get off an Icy Wind, and then who knows, maybe hit him with a Water Plate Hydro Pump next turn. I don't know. But I really like Empoleon. It also does get Aqua Jet, which is nice for picking things off. I don't have too much priority on this team besides Entei, Extreme Speed, and Empoleon Aqua Jet. But I really just like Empoleon for its longevity. It still never gets... if this thing ever gets Roost, it's going to be busted. But it does not have Roost. If it did, that'd be crazy. But even with just a Citrus Berry, maybe even Leftovers, if this thing does get any other boosting moves, like maybe Iron Defense or Calm Mind, I don't remember if it gets either of those. But I really like Empoleon. It's strong special attacker, great special defensive wall, and if they do decide to bring Intimidate against me for some reason, I can even run a physical set viably. And I mean, even without the Defiant boost, 86 it's not that bad, really. It's not too far off from the Entei 90 special attack, which could run an Eruption. Only main problem with physical Empoleon is the pretty barren move pool, but that's why Defiant's there. So, based on this, I've got a nice set of typings, lots of resists, really thanks to Empoleon, good power output from Entei, Rhodomo, and Empoleon, support from Gastrodon and Jump Bluff, redirection and Jump Bluff, and I really liked how that all worked out. So I started venturing into the other non-fire water grass typings. You see I already got 2 waters, 2 grasses, not the greatest, but we're working with it. And I wanted the Trick Room Mon that could help support Gastrodon in the slow mode, and a Trick Room Mon that could pretty reliably set up Trick Room. And I ended up finding a Mon that I think is one of the value picks of the draft. I would say this Mon and Sentret. I don't remember who picked Sentret. I think it was Electric. They just released their video on that, so good on the Electric for picking Sentret. That was gonna, if that ever came back to me, I was gonna grab it. But my nomination for top 2 value picks of the draft is your boy Hypno in tier only for 5 points. Hypno, full disclosure, Hypno is my least favorite mon of all time. It is so just unapologetically disgusting. And as a kid, I was absolutely terrified of the idea of hypnosis. And I think that episode with the Drowsy and the Hypno, making that little girl think she was a Magikarp, probably scarred me in some deep way that I've still never fully come to terms with. But I think this might be the time to do that, because Hypno is a really good Trick Room setter. Inner Focus Trick Room is very hard to come by. I think think it's Hypno and maybe Girafarig to get that. So no faking this guy out. I ended up not getting any fake out of my own, so I really need Hypno to get off the Trick Room reliably. It is actually pretty decently bulky. 85, 70, 115. Great. Never need to invest in special defense unless you're against, like, I was going to say Hydreigon, but it doesn't exist, so I don't know. Maybe against a Gengar you need this extra Spit F, but Hypno is really, really bulky. It gets the job done all the time. I used it on ladder a bit when I was testing out this team, and it always gets Trick Room up. It's so good. And Hypno's another mon that has a lot of good support moves. Dual Screens, Thunder Wave, kind of like Rotom. You do get Trick Room, you do get Taunt, which is nice, my first Taunter. And there's a lot of other annoying stuff you can do. Obviously, Hypnosis, Disable's a great one, and it's not even that, like, 73 isn't great, but it can go physical or special, so I can switch it up with a Zen Headbutt or just go for the classic Psychic. We'll have to see. But I really like Hypno. Hypno is really just a great value pick, I think. And for a Psychic type Trick Room setter for 5 points, that's about the best you can do, honestly. Next pick. Actually, let me pause. I don't remember who my next pick was. Hold up. It was Ursaring. Ursaring was the next one I picked. Did I just mess up my camera? Let me see real quick. Hold up. Okay, did not mess up the camera. So, Ursaring was the one I picked next. Obviously, I get my Trick Room setter, and then my Trick Room just... This, I don't even know if you call this thing a sweeper, man. This thing is an absolute just cannon. 130 attack, guts. You can't burn it. Don't even bother burning it. Don't bring Will-O-Wisp against my team. I've got Entei, I've got Ursaring. I have no other physical attackers. Do not bring Will-O-Wisp against me. That is a tip to anyone playing me. But honestly, Hypno, Ursaring, Protect, get your Flame Orb, destroy things with Facade. On the ladder, I was doing some testing. If you can get a Swords Dance off with your Guts boost, this thing goes up to 600 attack, which even at level 100 would be disgusting. But if you're in a format level 50, this is just a delete button. Facade, delete. Close combat, delete. I'm 100% sure it gets a dark move, probably Crunch. And with that, there's perfect coverage, unresisted in this game. So Ursaring is, it's so good. It's also a super value pick. I think it was 6 points. And something that's this good in Trick Room should not be worth 6 points. Obviously, it's not the slowest thing around. It is weak to priority. But that's what you got to live with if you want a mon like this. 90, 75, 75 is pretty nice. Just bump up that HP even more, put 4 in each defense for the optimal calcs, and there you go. It's a super bulky mon decently bulky mon that is just an absolute unit. One-hit KOing things left and right with the Facade, and I've got my nice little redirector here to protect him from all those nasty mons that would try to hit it with maybe a fighting type, because guess what? Jumpluff resists that. And for the stuff that Jumpluff can't block from grass types, that's mainly going to be what? Like a Sleep Powder, maybe a Ludicolo, but if I'm versus Ludicolo, hope to God I'm already in Trick Room. So, actually, I don't even know if Steve's in my division this season. We'll find out. But yeah, Ursaring is essentially just a delete button in Trick Room if it gets burned, which it typically will, because it's Ursaring. It's gonna hold a Flame Orb every week, and you're not gonna be surprised, but hopefully it'll still kill you. And if I really want to, I can even do Quick Feet, which is especially Guts for speed. So 55 isn't great, obviously, but max speed with a plus speed nature and a +1, you're pretty fast. I mean, I play a lot with base 50 mons with weakness policies and bulldozes with clear body. See Regirock or Diancie on the channel. And they're pretty fast. I know Diancie and Regirock can hit 168 speed, which is like just barely outspeeding. Hold up. What does that outspeed? Hold up. Don't look at my team against Braff next week. Where's the team with Diancie? There we go. VBL-N week 3. So this is the first time I played Braff. Oh wait, shit. Hold up. Let me just pause this real quick. Okay, I double checked it. It can outspeed base 100 mons, which is what I thought, but I didn't want to be wrong. So, Ursaring, in theory, with Quick Feet, can outspeed base 100 mons and hit them with a super strong Facade, which there's not many mons that can survive 2 Facades. And I mean, again, with the Jumpluff redirection, Ursaring can stick around for quite a while and be very, very, very threatening and hard to take down. So I have my nice fast support mon, I have a decent little Trick Room setup, and I have some other serious bulk going on here, and I decided, let's add to the bulk. We'll bring back a Season 4 champion. We've got Umbreon, who Sam made famous in the finals against Jordan Ziskav. What does Umbreon do? Pretty much everything it does in Sword and Shield, which is kind of saying a lot. This mon doesn't really lose much in terms of the move pool. It might lose Baby Doll Lives, I don't remember, but either way, this thing gets enough other options to deal with that. I'm sure Growl would be perfectly viable on it. Again, another inner focus mon, so do not bring Intimidate against me. I can get off taunts easy peasy, yawns. Look at how many mons I have that learn yawn. That's going to be annoying. But again, just doing Umbreon stuff, right? Snarl, Foul Play. That's really all Umbreon needs. +2. You get to take your pick after that. And in a mon, this is nearly as bulky as Cresselia. Obviously, it has a lot less HP, but it's probably equally as annoying because it's harder to hit Dark type super effectively. I do have that nice Psychic immunity, so I do, in theory, win the 101 against Cresselia. And I really just like some of the options that Umbreon has. It's a great team support mon. I mean, if you ever play Pokemon Coliseum, you know how much of a team supporter this thing is. Always just helping hand every turn. And if that thing got Snarl back in Gen 3, what a menace it would have been in that game. That game's hard enough, so I wish you did have Snarl back then. Anyhow, like Umbreon, great mon. Gonna put in a lot of work for the team. And then after that, I started rounding out my points. I had very few points left. I spent a lot of big stuff right off the bat. These, these 6 are very expensive mons. But I decided I wanted another mon that can set Trick Room in case something happens to Hypno. This is still the pick that I'm kind of most questionable about. It's a little bulkier than Hypno, has an immunity that Hypno doesn't have, but it doesn't have that inner focus. And I don't know if I need to really try to bluff, fake out, or like make him guess which mon is the Trick Room on, because Hypno really just does it so well. So this is, if I'm going to change anything on the team, which I might, it's going to be this mon, which is Chimecho. Historically, I don't like Chimecho very much, but it is actually pretty bulky, has a decent special attack. It does double me up at 65, which kind of sucks. Another reason why I might want to change it later. It doesn't get knockoff in this game, which is also unfortunate, but it does get a lot of support options, which is why I ended up going with it. I mean, look at how many, this fills out, I think, the most of anything else on this list, even more than Jump Bluff, which is kind of wild. We get Taunt, Encore again, Yawn again. I have 5 mons with Yawns. That's crazy. And then Dual Screens and T-Wave. It also gets Perish Song. I believe it gets Sing. And that's really all a mon needs to be incredibly... Oh, gets Recovered too, which is awesome. 75, 80, 90 isn't the best, but it's definitely workable. Do max attack, or max HP, max defense, Calm Mind, and this thing might stick around for quite a bit. But I really do like Chimecho. I think it can do a great job of setting up Trick Room. The verdict's still out though if it's significantly better than Hypno to make it worth a spot on the team. So TBD if we keep Chimecho. I do like the option it has, but Hypno might just do its job better. Anyways, last non-garbage tier pick of the draft, but also kind of literally garbage, Swalot. I like Swalot. Swalot's always been one of my favorite mons. And look at this, another Encore user. Wait, did I say it has Encore? Chimecho has Encore? I meant Chimecho has Trick Room. Oops. So another Encore user for real this time. Another Yawn user, which is crazy. 183.83 is very, very bulky. This thing also gets Stockpile. And that's really all you need to be an incredibly annoying mon. Swalot, it's not super strong. It's not very flexible, but it's strong enough. 83 is okay. Hit him with a Sludge Bomb, hit him with a Poison Jab, do some residual damage kind of stuff. But Swalot is just kind of here to tank some of the other hits that I needed help resisting. If I didn't have Swalot, I end up having even if I didn't have Swalot at my next pick, I end up having a net bug weakness, which is wild. I've never drafted a team. I don't think anybody's ever drafted a team with a net bug weakness. Thankfully, there's really only one good bug type in this format, which is why I didn't even really bother to draft one. It's Scizor, BTW. And I do have one giant flashing way of dealing with that mon, so not really too necessary for the bug resist, but helps out with U-turn, really helps out with the fighting weaknesses that I do have on my team. And that's really what it's here for. Just kind of be a tank, deal chip damage, put things to sleep with Yawn again. I now have 6 Yawn users, which is definitely a record for me at least. I don't know if there's any other teams with this many Yawn users on it. And then I came around to my very last pick. I have a lot of missing types here. I think it'll be okay though. But the last time I said that, that was the only time I didn't make playoffs. So we'll see. So my last mon, I ended up with 1 point left over. It was good old Jigs, who, if you know Smash Bros, you know it's a top tier, right? Say no more. But it's just a shitty little normal type, fairy type, nice resists, ends up with no net weaknesses, but at what cost for this whack ass type chart? Friend Guard is really the reason why I picked Jigglypuff. send it out, protect, maybe help Ursaring, Entei live one more hit than they normally would. But anything with Friend Guard is going to be a big target. Noah Violite really hurts this thing out. Base 20 defenses are about as dog shit as it gets. But I get dual screens, I get Thunderwave, I get Sing. I get some other stuff for sure. But yeah, that is the team. Overall, it's really not that bad, I don't think. I did some, shit, I should have brought this over. Hold on, let me pause real quick. I might just pull that up real quick. Okay, so that took a little bit longer to get ready than I had expected it would. So I don't remember where I left off in the middle of that sentence, but just kind of to summarize, and I guess for everybody else's sake, I'll post this in the Discord in a bit. This is my love of spreadsheets knows no bounds, so I decided to kind of rank everybody's teams and summarize how everybody's teams ended up. So we have different columns: average HP stat, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, BST, and then the average bulk. So the average bulk thing is a number that I kind of use to represent a given mon's bulkiness. It's essentially, with max investment, how much damage would it take from a given special attack and physical attack. Then you take that percentage left, subtract it from 1, multiply them together, and take the square root of that. So this system kind of selects for higher like mixed bulk. So a mon like Chansey is going to be penalized, and a mon like Cresselia is going to be bumped up by that, because Cresselia can take physical and special hits, so you don't have to particularly worry about one versus the other. And obviously this does essentially track best with HP, because that is what allows you to do both. But I still think it's a useful metric to kind of visualize how well a team can take hits on average. And again, obviously this is skewed. This isn't filtered for what mons are most likely to come. This isn't filtered down by like the Grimace Togekisses, which has three one pointers because they have super high top tier, super valuable top tier picks that are offset by a bunch of little shitty babies. So this probably isn't the best system to use it, but I think it works on teams that have a lot of viable options, like myself and Daddy's, which funnily enough are actually the highest rated overall bulk. But essentially I wanted to show this because my team is very bulky. I don't have the most explosive offensive potential like some other teams do. I don't have the widest range of speed tiers, but I do have a lot of HP, a lot of defense, and a decent type coverage. So I think hopefully that'll go a long enough way to help me throughout the weeks where I can't get OKOs, but if I can get enough 2 and 3 at KOs while taking less damage myself, hopefully that'll pay off in the end. And I think I do have some of the supportive options I need to deal with that. But again, this is a nice little fun graphic. Nice to visualize different people's draft styles, who likes more offense, who likes more bulky offense, who likes full-on defensive routes, that kind of thing. But obviously there's lots of flaws with a system like this, but I still think it's fun to take a look at. So yeah, that's the draft. I really end up liking how my team turned out. I plus or minus Chemeco, TBD if that stays, but I really like how the team came out. I'm excited to see how this format works. This is the first draft I've seen really anywhere of a VGC BDSP draft, so maybe we'll see if we made giant tiering mistakes. Maybe Cresselia should have been banned after all. Maybe Smeargle shouldn't have been banned. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to it. Week 1 starts next week. We decided to do the week 0 for videos and PRs like this, so that's what we get. So yeah, looking forward to the season, and happy and excited that we've got this up and running, and anxious to see how I do in 3 leagues at once. Will I fail all 3? Possibly. We'll have to see. Alrighty, that's all I got. I will see you in the next one.